The bus has arrived, and so has season 2 of From. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment, and we are here for the premiere of season 2 for From, episode 11 overall, episode 1 of season 2. And this one is called Strangers in a Strange Land, and I think that's got to do with the new people, the bus that arrived at the diner, and we have a bunch of new strangers coming into the town, and they're like, where the hell are we? So that is basically, and that's what the titles in this show tend to actually have relevance to the episode.
Yep, you get a lot of shows where they have no relevance, but I kind of like that, but in a way it can be a bit of a downfall where it reveals too much, maybe.
I don't think they reveal too much, but I actually like it when the title actually is relevant to the episode, because then you can try and take a little, you can make a little guess or whatever, you know, you can give maybe a clue what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
If you actually dive into it, whereas I feel there's some shows where the episodes are just like the most random name ever, and you're like, what did that have to do with that episode?
Like Big Scooby-Doo, and it's an episode about Breaking Bad or something.
Aye. Anyway, we are here with season 2. We start off with Boyd, and he is basically ringing his bell. He's doing his whole ring the bell gimmick, but we're like, what the hell? Why is he doing this? Last time we seen him, he was trapped. Well, don't worry. It's just a dream. He wakes up and he's still trapped, and he is like trapped in this, I don't even know what you would call it, man. You think it's a chimney?
No, it's a well.
It's a well.
Well, I thought it was a chimney initially.
Wait, did I not say it was a well? Well, I think I said it was a well in the last episode.
It's a weird well though, because wells are circular, not rectangular. And
normally wells have water in it.
Maybe this one's all dried up.
This one was dry. This one was dry.
An Ethiopian well.
Ethiopian well. We see Jim in his house. He's looking for his wife, Tabitha, but she's been swallowed up by the floor. So the floor must have been pretty hungry.
The floorboards were hungry.
Julie runs down to try and find her dad. We also, Ellis chases after her from the colony house to try and make sure she doesn't run away. In the colony house, everything starts to go to shit. We see all the light bulbs, everything just seems to break. The big fat woman gets a bit of glass in her eye. I can't remember her name, but
we'll call her Poundland Governor.
Poundland Governor, because she wore an eye patch. Donna's like, unless you're fucking bleeding, you should be boarding up the windows. So Donna's laying down the law. Jade's like screaming. He's trying to get Donna's attention, but she's not showing him any sort of attention at all.
There's a fucking bus.
But sooner or later he breaks out and he's like, Donna, there's a fucking bus. And then she looks at the bus, and that's kind of like the intro of the show over with. We get into the actual episode, and we still see Victor and Tabitha. They're trapped underneath, and they happen to be underneath the house in like this sort of cave-like environment, and that happens to be where the monsters are during the day. Now, they seem to be like, I don't know, sleeping or dormant. What would you... Is that
hibernating, sort of?
Hibernating, dormant. They're not active. They don't appear to know there's humans around them.
It reminds me of vampires, the way they can't be out in daylight sort of scenario, where it is, because it's not really sleeping. I feel like they could have made as much noise here, and as long as it's during the day, it would have been alright.
Also, we've never actually seen what happens when the sunlight comes up, because everyone's either hiding or they're inside their house. I wonder if the monsters actually have to be gone by sunrise, or do they just disappear by sun? I wonder what actually happens if a monster is up at sunlight. Could you, don't know if this is possible or not, but could they somehow trap one? And then I know that would kind of mean letting it into the house, but would there be a way to maybe trap one and see what happens to it once sunlight comes up?
I have a better scenario. How about, see this wee exit that comes out of these caves and tunnels? You fucking block up, or you flood it or something.
Not a bad idea.
Block it up and they can't get it.
But what if they have more than one home?
I think blocking up the only exit you know of is better than not.
Wait, what if they live under every house?
Well, they kind of do, because I guess they dug into it rather than... So technically they are.
So you think you don't think the Matthews house is special? You think they're underneath everyone's house?
Yeah, no, the cave system's under the town.
Yeah, okay. So you think it's like system. Connected, like?
Aye.
Well, it would have to go beyond one house, surely, wouldn't it?
No, it is not. The Matthews house, right? They dug that. It's not like there was already a tunnel there. If they didn't start digging, they would not find that system. So that's my personal opinion. But yeah, I would. If it was me, the next...
So it's not connected to the house, you just think it's so far underneath that
Well, no, we'll put it this way.
They fell into it, essentially.
It's not like a sewage system. I mean, yes, you could argue the wires are connected to this cave system, but it's not... Put it this way, if they didn't dig this hole, the monsters couldn't get to where they are directly to that house without having to go out their other exit, is what I'm getting at.
Okay, pretty
So
much.
I think the course of action, I think if Boyd was here and we get to the next morning, he'd be like, right, see that hole that they've discovered where the monsters come out of? We've got to block that up. We've got to put talismans in there so they can't get out. What would be that for a fucking idea?
Does talismans prevent them from getting out, though?
Prevents them from going in, might prevent them from getting out.
Anyway, but
Put it this way, what if you build a box around where the exit is and put talismans all around it? How do they get out? If they can't... It's worth a shot. I'd try it, I'm not saying it worked. But it's not better than nothing.
How do you isolate? Yeah, well, I get your point.
And maybe this is just one bit where they sleep, maybe there's other caves where they sleep, you know, that's the only problem. But if you limit the numbers of these monsters, I think you're doing something alright.
Yeah, possibly. So then we see the colony house. They're all trying to get the equipment. They're trying to get everything back inside before the storm comes. The bus arrives at the bus already arrived in the town, but we see from like a flashback where some guy in the bus, I believe his name was Elgin.
That's a weird name.
It is.
Oh, like, I mean,
Elgin James.
It reminds me of Elgin.
Is that not what it is? No.
Elgin James. Aye, it is, but the way they
different
say
pronunciation.
It, yeah, Elgin.
Same name, but different pronunciation. Anyway, he's sick on some guy that we don't really find out his name right now, and that's what causes them to pull the bus over, because the guy's sick and they kind of need to get everyone off the bus so he can be treated, and we have like this medic that's currently on the bus, and I guess that's handy, having a medic on the bus if someone gets sick.
There's 2 medics in town now.
Now we see Ellis. He makes it down to the town. Julie's in the house looking after her dad, or seeing what's wrong with her dad. Ellis is trying to keep the people calm. Tom, the barman, he's like, right, I'm going to go and help Jim here. I'm going to see what the problem is with Jim. Ellis is like, don't worry guys, there's people coming, they're going to help you. But the bus driver is like confused. She's like, we don't really need help. This isn't a pit stop. We literally just pulled over because someone's not well. I mean, once he gets sorted, then we'll be good
it's not
to
like
go.
they've pulled over here to sit in this diner. It's again, weird scene. It's absolutely pissing down with rain, and all these people have got off the bus because there's a bit of sick on board.
I don't think it's because they're sick on board. I think it's because the doctor on board was like giving the guy treatment, and you just want privacy, don't you?
I get that, but
it's like, I remember one time I was in my work and someone fucking just fell and had a stroke or something like that.
I was seeing you.
I had to, section off the aisles so they couldn't.
But your work getting outside, mate. It was pissing down. I mean, it was. This was.
All right, but what I'm saying is, if you're on public transport and someone takes a fit and you think they're going to die, do you not think they would get the people off the bus and
Aye,
give the person some? Right, what's the point?
Yeah, but it's pissing down.
Alright, so you think if there's a bit of rain outside, they're going to alright, no one get off the bus,
He didn't have a fit. All he did was be sick. It's different if he had a fit, right, and he's flopping about, man, blood everywhere.
Look, I'm just trying to think of why they got
had
off the
travel
bus.
sickness. So everyone should get off the bus because this guy was travel sickness, man, come on. I think we're giving this guy a wee bit too much leverage here.
Alright, then everybody should have stayed on the bus. I don't know.
Breathed in the sick.
But then again, she wanted to clean the bus as well, so maybe it's against her job rules. Maybe she's not allowed to continue driving if they're sick on board. The bus has been contaminated. Do you think Walter White would have continued driving, or would he have said, look, these wheels...
He drove with dead bodies in the back of his RV?
He'd have been like, these wheels do not move until every bit of sick is cleaned off this floor. Just see the Fly episode for...
There's bigger fish to fry, right? This episode in this town than a bit of sick on a bus.
Right, we then see Julie comes out and says, like, we need help, and we get a couple of guys from the bus. We get Tom, and they go and help Jim try and clear all the rubble from his house. We get Donna, she arrives, and she's trying to speak to the bus driver. She's, like, trying to tell her what is happening with the town, but the bus driver is just not... She's just not believing her, and that's fair enough, because, I mean, who would believe Donna at this stage?
Exactly. It's one thing convincing a family of 4, but an actual bus full of, like, 25 people, nah, that's not really happening.
Now, Donna did tell Kenny that they might have to, they might have to be strong here, they might have to, kind of, like, force these people into staying here, because things might not go well when they tell them what is happening. And I feel like Kenny's just a bit reluctant here. He's not Sheriff Boyd. He's just not. He's not ready to lead. I'm going to say it.
Yeah, I mean, what he was in college before all this. I mean, Boyd had the 40 years in the fucking Marines or whatever.
Yeah. Does Kenny even have any experience? For all we know, it was like
He has a fucking kid-on badge and a gun.
It was a pass-me-down, like, oh, well, you used to like playing cop when you were like 6 years old. Here's a badge.
Here's a badge.
It's not even real silver. So, yeah, I mean, Kenny here's not really pulling his weight. We then see Boyd back in the well, and he can't really get up. Then he's shouting for help, and then this voice, I was going to say it shouts back, but it sounds like a very weak voice, very timid voice. You can barely hear it, and it's telling him, help you get up, you help me get up. And Boyd's like, yeah, that sounds good. And then the voice is asking him, Are you real? And then Boyd's like, yeah, I'm fucking real. Are you real? I really like Boyd. I think Boyd's the best character in this show by a country mile. Then Boyd's like, well, how are you going to help me? And then a rope comes down. And then the voice is like, you're going to have to climb. It's like, no shit, you're going to have to climb.
He's probably going to shove it up his ass.
I mean, what else is he going to do? So Boyd starts climbing. He gets halfway and then he hears Ellis calling on him from down below. And he's like, Dad, I thought we were going to take the boat out.
Then he for a spin.
Then he almost... Boats don't spin, you're
That's what he said, though.
Take the boat for a spin.
I swear to God, that's what he said.
It'd be take the boat for a float or take the boat for a glide or something. Or
the car spin. The car spin.
Aye, the wheels spin, actually, funnily enough.
The rotor spin.
What?
The rotor spin on a boat.
That's not the same thing, mate. The wheels spin and you move.
I don't get... Yo, I'm saying what Ellis said. I'm not saying what I said.
Right, okay. Well, I just wouldn't use that term. Why take the boat for a... Well, I would say, do I take the boat for a float?
What would you say?
Do I take the boat for a float?
Fuck off.
Well, that sounds good.
Nobody says that.
Well, you tell me that's not a good saying. Do you want to take the boat for a float?
It rhymes, that's about it.
Alright, fair enough. Well, that's what I would stick with, but it turns out it's not actually...
Do you want to take the plane for a... What would you say? Take a plane for a what?
A glide in the air.
Spin's what you say, man. Right? It's like, seeing you...
Why take the plane for a journey? There you go. Anyway, right, so Ellis isn't actually there, and Jim, Boyd almost like slips, but managed to regain his composure, and he starts his climb, and it takes him a hell of a long time, by the way, to climb this bit of rope. Don't get me wrong.
It takes the 48 minutes of this episode.
It takes a full episode. Then we see... Back in the Jim, the Matthews house, we see like the floor beginning to fall, and Tom's like, look, Jim, we're gonna have to go, we're gonna have to leave, but Tom's like, nah, I'm not ready to go, I'm not leaving without my wife. But he doesn't even know that he doesn't even know his wife's down there. B, he doesn't even know if his wife's alive. I mean, what's he going to do? I mean, he's basically not getting anywhere on the floors about to cave in.
I think he's just in denial and he wants to try his hardest to the very end. I see where he's coming from, but pretty stupid for Jim.
Yeah, then the house just gives way and it collapses, and Jim, Tom, and the two people for the bus get trapped underneath the rubble. One of them manages to get out, and Christy comes over and she like checks on him, but the other three are trapped underneath. And I mean, at this stage you've got like Ellis, you've got Donna, you've got Christy, you've got like the main people from the town there, or main people from town / colony. They're kind of there trying to, I don't know, introduce these new people or whatever. Well, Christy's checking to see if everyone's okay. Meanwhile, I don't know, Donna's shouting at the bus driver.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
We see up in the colony house, Jade's like having a cigarette, but it's weed. He gets told by Ethan, cigarettes are bad for him. He's like, it's not that kind of cigarette, and he just doesn't really want this wee kid to be around him. He thinks this kid's annoying, but then he's like, oh wait, you're friends with Victor. So
Victor
he's like,
touches you, doesn't he, Ethan?
Yeah, so then he moves him to his room. He said, no, he wants to see, do you know where Victor's room is upstairs? And he's like, yeah, he wants to see Victor's room. So then Jade goes in Victor's room. He starts like destroying it, looking for stuff. And Ethan's like, here, why are you in here? Victor won't like it. And he goes, hey kid, Victor's probably dead. And then he realizes that Ethan's not impressed with this. And he goes, nah, sorry, I didn't mean that. I shouldn't have said that. And he's like, yeah, you shouldn't have said it because Victor's alive. He's doing his part of the quest. Jade's like, what are you talking about, quest? And Ethan's like, oh, we're on a quest, that's what we're doing here. But
Ethan's strong for beyond his years.
He is. And he's not overly annoying. Normally I hate kid characters, but he's not.
Yeah, it actually doesn't feel too forced.
If you compare Ethan to Carl and The Walking Dead, Ethan's much better.
I think in the last 10 years of TV shows, there's been a lot more kid stuff, acting, and I feel like it's massively improved.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a fan of that Stranger Things and all that, but I feel like the quality's definitely went up.
Oh, definitely. The kids in that they're pretty good.
I will say this though, I think Chandler Riggs, even in like later seasons, was fucking shite. So maybe they just got the wrong actor.
Yeah, maybe he just wasn't any good.
I mean, I guess Home Alone was good back in the day, so if you pick the right one, you can get the right one.
Aye. So that happens, and then Victor finds this. He finds the photo because he found the photo. Jade found the photo of Victor, and that's why he's in Victor's room, because in the photo, it's the same. The guy that is standing. So you got like Victor in the background, but the guy that's like at the forefront of the photo, he's actually like holding a book with a symbol that Jade keeps seeing. So he thinks it might have something to do with Victor, and he thinks if he checks out Victor's room, he might, I don't know, come to some conclusion about the symbol. So that's what Jade's trying to do. That's what he's trying to look for. Meanwhile, back down in the cave, it's Victor and Tabitha, and they actually find all the monsters that are like kind of sleeping or dormant or whatever. And then they kind of like startle them. And I guess they're waking up because it's getting darker outside.
Waking up, Tabitha.
And the sun's about to come down. Victor almost has like a breakdown, but Tabitha has
he sees a puppet, so and also Jade's seen that puppet. So will that puppet have a big part to play? Like, how did this puppet get down here? With a suitcase? Weird stuff going on.
Yeah, we've seen a suitcase, and he starts to freak out, but Tabitha's like, "Come on, Victor, we've got to go," and she grabs him, and then they begin to find like water in the cave, and I guess once you find water, I mean,
there's a way out.
Yeah, you're closer to the way out. So,
well, I like this is it revealed that these monsters are like properly real and legit. They're there. They're not like imaginable or imaginary. And I actually like the fact they're real, and we found that they actually sleep pretty much under the town.
Yeah,
I think it would have sucked if it got to a point where it's just like a imagination.
Yes, we see the big fat woman with the governor eyeball. Tries to talk to Jade, but Jade's not really interested in talking to her. I don't really blame her.
She just got even uglier as well. So
she doesn't even have a name, for God. Well, maybe she does have a name, but we don't know it.
Fatty.
Fat ass.
Fat son of a bitch.
Then back down in the town, the woman is like, "Right, come on, we got to go here." And it's like, "No, one of your passengers is trapped underneath this house. We're trying to help them." She's like, "Nah, look, we've got to go." Donna's like, not having it. Donna's like, "Nah, you need to stay here." Jim then tells everyone that, look, you're going to have to leave. You're going to have to leave us here until, because apparently like the walls and the floors, everything's falling down. So everyone's there trying to help get Jim and Tom and the other two guys out. But well, one of them's already out, but the other guy, he's trapped underneath. But the house is beginning to fall apart. So Jim's like, look, you're going to have to go slower. But Donna's like, look, nah, Jim, the sun's coming down. We haven't got time to be slow. And then Jim's like, look, Julie, just stay with Donna. Do whatever Donna tells you. You're going to have to leave me. Julie's like, no, Dad, I'm not leaving you. But Donna's like, no, that's the right thing to do. Donna says, look, Julie, I stayed over here. I stayed in this town for over a year until Boyd found the talisman. And, you know, if they stay silent and we cover them, there is a chance that the monsters won't find them. But obviously, if they stay out there closer to dark and the monsters see them around that building, then they're going to probably put two and two together and realise that there's people trapped underneath there.
Yeah, this is exactly the right call, because you wait till morning, it gives you way more time to deal with this collapsed building. Yes, there could be more serious injuries that you not know about, but I think this was absolutely
and
the right
they could
call.
die. I mean, that's pretty important.
No, they could die, obviously, with the time passing the morning, but this is much smarter. I think this is the call to do.
Yeah, so they call it off. Donna wants everyone in the diner, but the bus driver's not having it. She's like, look, everybody back on the bus, or either you can stay here. But people are like, oh, these people need help. And she's like, yeah, and we will get them help when we get to the next town. We'll call emergency services. Donna's like, you're not fucking listening. There is no emergency services. But she's like, look, everybody get on the bus. She starts up the bus, and Donna comes over with a shotgun and blows out the fucking tire. Then Kenny, too late in my opinion, pulls out his gun and starts shooting into the air, and he tells everyone to get into the diner. But even when he says it, like, he doesn't really say it with any real sort of authority, like, you know.
Yeah, there was just no level of authority here, because people are running away. There's gunfire. if this was somebody like Boyd with the 30 years here, people would have been rounded up and everyone would have been accounted for. They've been in the diner sitting having a fucking meal. But no, instead everyone's running about in like 10 different directions.
So yeah, a few people actually run off, and Fatima and Ellis and I think someone else chases them. So the whole group's kind of split, but most of them get into the diner, and that's pretty much it from a town perspective. Tabitha and Julie find their way out. Not Julie, Tabitha and Victor, find their way out, and it's getting dark outside as well. They need somewhere to hide. Victor's like, I think we have to go this way, and then they take off in a certain direction. And then we go back to Boyd. He finally makes it to the top, and he finds a figure. First of all, when he hears the voice, he pulls out his gun, but then he sees that there's no imminent threat because the person he's been talking to is chained up, and they appear to be not in good shape.
No, they literally look like a hunger striker. And where could this possibly be? Is this like the lighthouse that we saw in the finale? Are these two in some... It's intriguing because, you know what, I've actually no explanation for what this could be, because obviously he's never seen this guy before.
The guy's chained up, so it looks like he's a prisoner, and is like got a massive beard. It looks like he's been here for a long time.
Yeah, it looked like Jesus.
Yeah, this guy could literally have been chained up for years.
Before Christ. Could be immortal. Could be sent down to take all the sins away.
Now, I wouldn't say... now, we don't know. Could he be here as long as Victor?
Could be. Don't see no...
Could he be here longer than Victor?
He could have been here longer than Victor, but he's just being punished for whatever he's done recently, which is realistic.
But he's telling Jim, good, you've got a gun. Is that a gun? And Jim's like, yeah. Boyd's like, yeah, that's a gun. And he's like, good, my eyesights aren't as good as it used to be. And he says, it's good that you've got a gun, though. It'll be easier to kill me. And that was the deal. This guy said, I'll help you if you help me. And the help that this guy wants is for Boyd to put a bullet in him.
He also said earlier before the guy gets back, so who's the guy?
Yeah, who's the guy? He says you need to get up here before he gets back.
I had a guy, but now I don't.
And he says he did say the guy though, didn't he?
Yeah, he said
he didn't say the monsters.
He said the guy.
So,
but maybe this is the guy of all guys.
So who's coming back? Who is keeping this guy held hostage here? It doesn't. I mean, if it was monsters, they would have just killed this guy.
Exactly.
So is there somebody else? And remember, Sarah did say that there was voices in her head, and they said that there was things out here worse than monsters. So is this what she was talking about in episode 10? Possibly. But that's how the episode ends then, with Boyd just kind of staring at this guy that's wanting him to shoot him in the head, and Boyd's kind of left there pretty shocked, and I don't blame him. I think we covered everything though. Is there anything else that we did not... Oh! How could we not...
Christy and her
wife-to-be. The doctor that was on the bus happens to be Christy's fiancé, and they have a little coming together, and they meet each other, and they embrace, and we see Kenny in the background, and he's like, God damn it, that's my chances of getting Christy. That's the Iceland tickets.
That's the Iceland.
Ripped up, put in the paper shredder, in the bin. So I think that's it. I think that's pretty much everything.
This answers a lot of questions though. The world, as we know it, still exists. It'll be intriguing to know in the conversations, like, how much time's passed.
And I wonder if there's any... Would it be a coincidence that she's turned up, like, pretty big coincidence?
I don't think so, because I feel like it is just random people. And obviously it's in America, so a massive population, but guess we'll have to find out in the next one.
Anyway, that's it, guys, for episode 1 of season 2, Strangers in a Strange Land. And now it is time for the rating. What are you giving it?
I am going to give... I thought it was a pretty good episode because it continued straight on for the way the last season ended.
I like that. I hate when you get a new season and they skip forward like 4 months.
Oh no, it sucks.
AKA Mine's MC.
But this here, it was chaotic, and it still leaves a lot of intrigue for the next episode.
I thought it was good, but not that good for premiere. I'll say that. I'm going to get a 7.
I'm going to give it a 7. I feel like you've introduced this busload of people, literally, and there's not many of them that I go, they're good.
Yeah, you've got the bus driver who seems a bit...
Like, I feel like the doctor woman felt like the strongest person even before the reveal.
Yeah, so you got her.
Maybe the skinhead guy.
You got the skinhead guy.
Those two, but that's it.
Who was helping.
And the driver. But
you got the driver who seems a little bit stubborn and unwilling to listen, although what Donna's telling her is a little bit unreasonable. And then you got the guy who's sick, who didn't want them coming into this town. He was adamant that they should turn the bus around. He pretty much freaked out when they got here. So
And he was having seizures.
could he be another person that hears voices? I mean, we've seen Sarah have seizures.
Maybe he sees the boy in black.
Yeah, could he be a special character? I guess we'll find out.
Special and fucked.
Other than that, we didn't really notice anyone else from the bus that stood out, so we'll see if the bus characters get more development in episode 2. But for now, guys, that's it. We're giving it a 7 out of 10. Let us know your thoughts down below, and we'll be back next time for episode 2 of season 2, which is called The Kindness of Strangers. We'll catch you in the next one. Till then, though, peace.